And she's back. Welcome to Shady Sucker Sunday. I love coming up with all these crazy names for the shows because I know you guys looking to do a double take and be like, wait, what? Because, just I try to find something that fits, but that's interesting and a little different. What's happening? Hope you guys had a good Saturday night. I did. But yes, shady suckers. Because that's exactly what these fools are. Well, one of them anyway. And people who think like this. Um, we have a lot of ground to cover. So let me get started. Oops, just dropped my water. The way that this came about is that I have people out in the internet looking for interesting things for me to talk about, or they come up on something and they say to themselves, oh, I wonder what Deb will say about this. So they inevitably will send it to me either by email or on Facebook. So I happened to log on and I got this video clip, a link to this video clip rather, where these two gentlemen, and I have some excerpts from it, were debating, go call it debating, how long a man should date a woman before he makes a proposal, before he decides that she's passed enough of his tests and jumped through enough hoops and done enough service and proven herself enough for his royal assness for her to for him to decide that, well, I guess I'll offer her my hand in marriage. So it was really interesting. They had two very diverse opinions on the matter, and I thought it would be great to talk about it. I also wanted to, I found some statistics about engagements, as well as some information about how things are specifically within the African American community. So we're going to go through quite a bit of detail here over the course of this next hour or so. But what I wanted to do is first go through some slides. Okay, you know how I like to do the slides. We like to do the slides. So there we go. Now, those of you who follow Love and Hip Hop, which I do not, but this also was sent to me by a follower. Some rapper dude named Jules or Julez, I'm not sure how to even pronounce dude's name. Santana proposed on this show um, just this week to a woman that he's been with for almost 10 years and has two children by. So, what's her name? What's this chick's name? Kim Bella something or other. And everybody seemed to know who they were except me. So, I kind of felt out of the loop. I'm like, wow, is that because he's a rapper and I don't really keep up with that stuff? I'm guessing that's what it is. But, I looked him up online and I found some information about him on Wikipedia. And, Rockefeller Records, evidently, he's been around for a while as a big East Coast name. I have to admit, I mainly followed West Coast rap when I followed it. So I didn't know anything about dude. And he says he's going to be doing a mixtape with Swizz Beats. So, that kind of got my attention. But so yeah, they have two children, one born in 2010, one born in 2012, plus he has a kid from a previous relationship born in 2003. And this woman waited 10 years almost to get this ring. Now the ring is phenomenal. I have a picture of her wearing it right there. Yeah, I hope you can zoom in, you can see it. And she's, you see how big it is on her hand. So dude came with it when he finally came. But she says that she's kind of, calling herself, telling other women what to do and saying that they should wait as long as it takes to get the ring. I disagree. 10 years, two kids, you living with the man, cooking, cleaning. She's performing all the duties of a wife without any of the legal protections for either herself or her children. Now, I don't know how dude handled his business, so let me take that last part back. I don't know what he's done as far as, making sure he has trust for his kids, stuff in their name so they can avoid probate taxes. I don't know how he handled his business, what kind of legal and financial advisors he has. He might have everything so tied up with his kids that it doesn't matter that they're not married. This is just extra for her. But generally, young people don't handle business in that way, and they just, get in an accident or catch a stray bullet or something, and then their kids are just ass out, and is the mother of their children. The only reason why, like Puffy, not what was his name, Biggie and Faith, their kids got taken care of is because they were married. Okay. And so, there was no question about it. So, if you're going to have children, I definitely advise that you get married. But if not, that's up to you. Okay, so now let's talk about some of these statistics that I came across on marriage, on engagements rather. This one shows how long do American people date on average before they become engaged. Now, the survey that I got, it was from this website that is no longer in business, but the company that sponsored them, Priceonomics, has the survey up on their site, so that's where I found it. And it just shows, if you look down this chart, you can see how long people date before getting married. The greatest percentage is in the four, well, no, let's just say 2 to 5 year range. It looks like that's what the bulk of them are, and there's a good little chunk, in only 1 or 2 years. That's a pretty, 38%. That's a good amount. So when you have brothers sitting online and admonishing other brothers to make a woman wait 5 or 10 years to prove herself to you, then it makes you wonder, what is their goal there? I'm going to let you hear the clips yourself, though, so you can make your own determination. But I listened to it with great interest because I thought, wow, this is a bunch of bullshit. But that's just me. This survey pointed out, so you see, nearly half the all engagements occur within 2 years or less. And then on the other end of that spectrum, only 6% dated for 8 years or more. So these dudes are talking about being in that 6%. And so the average age, this they figured out by their survey, which was several thousand people, engaged women, 3.3 years. But that figure changed somewhat when you broke it down by region of the country. This chart shows you where how long the average engagement is by I'm sorry, how long people spent dating before they became engaged. I have another one that shows engagement. This one shows how many years people dated before they became engaged. And you can see in the South is the shortest length of time. That's the same area of the country they call the Bible Belt. So it would figure, that they would be more in a push to get married because of scriptures, right? That's the Bible Belt. So they're not going to want to be doing a whole bunch of shacking up and doing all this stuff, though it does happen. It's kind of somewhat frowned upon in the more traditional southern homes where, people are very religious. Everybody go to church, the whole town goes to church, that kind of thing. The people there tend to get married much younger and much faster. So you got to remember, this is an average. So there's going to be people who got married way less than 2.9 years, and then a few more, but so that became the average. All right. And then we look at the age that people get engaged. So this chart showed that the average age for women was 27 years plus 2 months, or 2.2. Tended to be a half 1.5 years younger than their partner, who was 28.7 years old at the time of engagement. Um, and so, you can read that for yourself. It talks about the mid 30s, and about 8% were over the age of 35 when they became engaged. So this breaks it down, year by year, even showing less than 18 years old for both males and females, which to me shouldn't even be on here because you're not even of legal age in most states yet. So that's kind of interesting that they did that, but whatever. Now, this is when it talks about the age that they become engaged. So, this shows in the region of the country. We just saw the ages on that chart, but this breaks it down by geographic region. And again, we're looking at the South being a little bit younger, just a little bit, not that much. So, it looks like 27 is a favorite age for people to look at, becoming engaged and probably getting married at 28, 29. I think that's good. I don't have a problem with that. Now we talk about people who get engaged at age 35 or older because they have all those statistics talking about, women hitting the wall and oh, don't nobody want them and all this old stuff. And you see the numbers here in the South is still very high. I mean, more than 10%. That's 11. And in the South for men, it's 15%. So you see a lot of men getting married, engaged rather, over the age of 35 and fewer women because most of them are already engaged at this age. And when you're going to see, I'm going to show you this video excerpt next. And those are the gentlemen that are speaking in the video. I wanted to make sure I did everything right and proper and gave them their credit because usually I don't promote other people's channels, but if I use a clip from their video, then I always do that because that's right and the proper way to do things when you're doing stuff in a business like manner. I be trying to do my stuff right. So let me show you this video. Okay, I see the people sent me a text. We're having some issues here. Why is this not playing? Let me double check this for a minute um, and see what's happening. Why it won't. Uh, why it wasn't showing. Hmm. Well, shit. This was just like such an important part of my show here. I have to go and try to figure out what the heck is going on. It just can't ever, why can't it just be simple for me? Why can't things just work the way they're supposed to? I would just be so happy just one time in my life. Okay, so, okay, where is it going though? It's not going where I want it to go. Um, Hold on. I'm gonna try one more thing, and then I'll just have to. Okay, let's try this one more time. To I'm trying to uh, redo the video. We'll see what happens if it actually republishes it because I definitely wanted to. I wanted you guys to see this. This is like the most important part of the show, but I'm having drama. So while that works, let me go over this. Blackdemographics.com has information on black marriages in America, and they're talking about marital statistics amongst African Americans. And here it says that they have numbers from 2016. And it says in 2016, only 29% of African Americans were married compared to 48% of all Americans. Half or 50% of African Americans have never been married compared to 33% of all Americans. Well, I mean, how are you going to be trying to get married when you playing all these games and trying to keep women on the hook for 10 years? Like I said, I'm hoping this process is fast enough so I can get this uploaded and get this so you guys can see it. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing now, but I just don't understand why it wouldn't show. That's really kind of bugging me. But it says, although we can see that black women are, quote, now married, more black women than black men have been married at least once. This is because a higher percentage of black women are divorced and widowed than men. Also in 2016, just half or 48% of black women had never been married, which is up from 44% in 2008 and 42.7% in 2005. So more and more, it looks like, according to black demographics, more black women are being, are statistically unmarried. Although then they say that more of them are divorced and widowed. So something I don't know. I don't understand how they're calculating these numbers. Um, so then they talk about interracial marriages, right? In black marriages, it says the percent of black men who married a black woman is 85%. But the percent of black women who married a black man is 93%. So the majority of interracial marriages in the black community, even though we have a lot of black men that jump up and down about it, the majority of interracial relationships are them. They're the ones marrying outside of the race. And in general, they're choosing white women even over Hispanic, Asian, Hawaiian, Middle Eastern, Indian, any other kind of nationality. They're choosing white women to almost 3 to 1 over the other one, or at least 2.5 to 1. It's kind of interesting. So sisters are really just now getting on the bandwagon. So black women only married outside the race. Um, it looks like 172,000 married a white guy, 82,000 married an Hispanic guy, and 53,000 married some other race. That's pretty low when you consider how many millions of black women there are. That's kind of odd. Let me check this. Oh, it's almost finished. This is just really driving me crazy. I'm glad you guys are patient. Yeah, I don't know why black women are so hesitant to go outside the race. What's up with that? Why you guys don't, growing up on the West Coast like I did, that's all I could see. Everybody is dating everybody around here. It's not seeing an interracial couple with a black woman with somebody else of another race is like very common. No big deal. All right, it's processing. It's about to be finished. What's the name of this damn thing? Okay. Is it finished? Okay, it's done. Let me try to put it into the program again. Uh, 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 uh. This is just pissing me off so much. Okay. Okay. Everything's set. Looks like it should be working. All right. If it doesn't work this time, then I'll just have to give up.
Basically, title that we're going to talk about is how long should it take for a man to commit. And me personally, I feel that it should take no more than 2 years to know that this is your wife, this is your significant other, and whatnot. I don't think you should take more than two years to find your wife. Well,
Right.
what you got to say?
Right. Well, the thing is, I did a video a long time ago. I was talking about you should wait at least 5 years, 5 to 10 years to marry a woman. And the reason why I was saying this is because as a man, you have to make sure that the woman that who's gonna be your wife, is the right woman. And it's going to take you a long time, not only to see if she's the right woman, but also to see if she is contributing and benefiting you in your life and whatever you're trying to do. And so, 2 years is, to me, is not enough time for you to really make that decision, because if you're supposed to be with this person for life, you know what I mean? Like, you want to make sure that this is the right type of person. And so 2 years really isn't that long of a time to even get to that point, to even see if that's the real type of woman, to get things going as far as people, making things happen in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And but also too, I think because a lot of times what happens is that, I understand women, they want to get married, they want to get a husband, let's say that their biological clock is ticking, they want to get it, get it going. What it is though, is that I think what could help a lot of women, is understanding what it means to a man to be his wife, or to be someone that is committed to him. And I think unfortunately what happened nowadays is that you have a lot of women who they want to be, or they expect to be a wife just because. You understand? And so, and I think that's the part that kind of messes up the situation, because in each situation, each person, the man, he should be thinking to himself, right? What can I do in this situation to be the best man I can be? You understand? And when he says that, what he's also saying is that he's going to become the best man for a woman by him being the best man he can be. I'm talking specifically for women, because women are the ones who are saying, hey, I want to get married, I want this and I want that, because there's a lot of guys out there who's like, they could take or leave marriage. It's not really a big deal for them. You understand? There are certain guys who want marriage, but there's certain guys who don't really, they'll be fine. You understand? But a good majority of women are saying, I want to be married, I want to be a wife, I want to, make this happen. So I always say, what can you do as a woman to be that woman that a guy says, hey, I want to for this woman to be my wife. And so, like what you're saying, well, 2 years is a good enough time. And to your credit, a guy could actually meet a woman, and in 2 years he might say, yeah, I see that this woman could be a great wife. But that also depends on her, doing what she needs to do within those 2 years. You understand what I'm saying? And so if he finds a guy who understands the game and says, look, I need to make sure that the girl I'm with is cooperative, she's listening to me, she knows how to listen to direction, she's bringing something to the table, and if she's doing all those things within 2 years, then maybe there could be a chance where that guy might say, you know what, she's proven herself in 2 years that she could be my wife. But generally speaking, this is why I say 5 years, is because unfortunately nowadays women aren't the same as how it was back in the day. You understand? Right now we have a lot of women who's on the strong independent, I don't got to listen to no man, and like you said, the bitterness, all of these things makes it harder for a guy to, when he sometimes meets a woman, for her to sort of go in that direction, to submit, to be that type of woman who the guy sees as wifey material.
Men's out here looking to be faithful husband, and just trying to be with one person. So I like the woman I've encountered, the girl I'm with right now, but she just wants to be with one person, and I'm it for her. And I'm just saying, not a lot of guys just want to just be with one woman, and a lot of women, they're just looking just to be loyal with one man and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's like, and it's hard for them to really find that, because I've heard a lot of women say, well, I've done so much for this man, and I have this man kids, and it's like, you don't want to marry, or he's still saying he's not ready, and it's like, I'm doing everything possible. But it's like, the guy he's just not growing up, like what's going on, so it's like, you still trying to, it's still on a man's plate to really decide what he really wants from this woman, and don't really lead her down the path where you got her pregnant, you got 3 kids by her, and you still not trying to honor her and commit to her. Right. You got 3 kids by her, and you still not you're still not trying to honor her and commit to her.
Right, and I think this is the thing. It's, and you're right. There are some guys who are just going to be like, like they're not trying to do any of that type of stuff. And I think this is what it is for both parties. We have to learn how to choose better and be better, so that because a woman, like for example, if a guy is, because I get this all the time where guys will get upset and complain and they say, oh, well, I was with this girl and she was acting real crazy and she got an attitude and this and this and that and she's acting all this other stuff, and I'm like, well, you chose to first be with her and also stay with her. And then I say the same thing for women, where is that you have to, like, you're saying, well, this guy, she's with this guy, he doesn't want to make anything happen, and now we have 3 kids and all this other stuff. It's like, okay, well, the unfortunate part is that you didn't really choose correctly from the beginning, and unfortunately, and the thing is that this comes from a lot of ignorance about understanding the dynamic between relationships and what's going to really benefit you in the long run, because they're making decisions emotionally, and this is why the whole thing where I talk about waiting 5 to 10 years, that's not an emotional decision, that's a practical decision.
And here we are back. I'm telling you, I am so happy that finally played. I don't even know what to do with myself. I was up here in a sweat because my whole plan was getting destroyed. My evil plan. But I'm glad you guys got to see that. What's your comments on it? You can type your comments over there in the chat room. Let me know what you think. I personally think that, and I don't know that the other guy is gay. Come on now, y'all, don't be saying all that. But we don't know what his history is. I never heard of him really, but I liked what he had to say, and I liked how he thought because his thinking process was realistic, and it was based on respect for the woman's time, the woman's energy, and moving things along. Now, one thing I didn't quote in there, he was talking about how in the olden the other dude referenced the quote olden days, and the young guy with the little beard thing says, well, you got to realize society has changed too, because people used to get married at 15 years old. And so these dudes, there wasn't all this, are we going to date for years and years? People found somebody they liked, they got married, they moved in, they started their little farm or whatever they're going to do, and they moved things along. They started building their legacy. That was, the way that our society used to be structured. So to want to cherry pick, bits and pieces of what we used to have in our society that you think is going to benefit you is not fair, because what man is like the olden days, either half these people can't even fix nothing, they can't build nothing, and they don't know nothing. So it's like, how you have a lot of nerve talking about the olden days. Let's see you get out here and run a farm and do all this milk a cow and all this other stuff, fix the tractor. What you doing? Half of them can't even cook. You know what I mean? But they want to hold some woman up to some standard talking about, well, in the olden days, women did this and women did that. Psh, fuck out of here. But I personally thought that, I think, when you look at the age of the people, like I heard some story the other day where a couple they met at church, and I think the dude's like 70 something, the woman, they're like old. And they got married after only knowing each other like officially for a month, dating for a month. They knew each other from church. It wasn't like they were complete strangers. But, they're old people. They had already been married and divorced. They got grown kids, everything. They're not gonna waste a lot of time because one of them might keel over dead next week. So they got married. You know what I mean? They got married and they had a really nice wedding. She had a pretty little dress on. They looked very happy. They was both grinning, showing their false teeth and stuff. It was very cute. So I'm like, I think a lot of that time thing has to do with a the man knowing what the fuck he wants, and B, the woman knowing that she's not going to take less than what she wants, and then C, the age of maturity of the couple, because young people are going to take longer than more mature people that's already established. That's just a reality. So you got somebody in their 20s, they might want to date 2 or 3 years while they finish school and get a career, and this whole kind of thing. That might be different for that stage of life. But you in your 30s and 40s, and somebody want to dick you around for 10 years, if you go for that, you's a dumb broad. That's all I can say. Why is the divorce rate so high? I don't think it's because people are rushing into marriage. It's that they don't understand what marriage is going to be require of them. So one thing that he did say was, know what the person wants, and that's something I've always said. People don't have enough time. They don't talk enough about what is the marriage is gonna be. They talk about the wedding. They talk about the honeymoon. They talk about their colors and the cake and the guests and all this stuff. Where we gonna have it? But you don't talk about the marriage itself, and that is key. That's what's missing. So when you talk about a marriage before you agree to marry somebody, you should know what it is what that man's view is of a quote wife, and he should know what your view is of a husband. And you guys talk about that and decide if both of you can meet those demands and those standards or not. Not only if you can, but if you're willing to. Because sometimes we can, but we just don't fucking want to. So it's too much work. It takes too much time. It's too demanding. We'd rather be doing something else. You need to be honest about that with yourself, if nobody else. Maybe you don't want to. The man expects every dinner. You can't see or hear me. I don't know why. These women who they rush into the marriage, and they don't really focus on the man that they're marrying. Who is this cat? When he talks about a wife, what does he want? Like this one mentioned that S word, that submission word. Oh, no, 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 no. We shall not be doing any of that. And it really kills me how these brothers be talking about they want the submission and they want all this shit. They want all this shit from the Bible. Yet as soon as they think it's hard here, they want to be fornicating like a motherfucker. But it's like, oh no, that's in the Bible too. So what you doing? You know what I mean? It's like you don't get to cherry pick. See, that's called being what? There's a word for it. You see and hear fine, but somebody can't see and hear. Yeah, you might need to log out and come back in. You know what I mean? It just really bothers me that people are so hypocritical. They want to hold women to a certain standard that they don't hold themselves to. And like I said, though, it's very important. Like if you're going to marry a man and this man wants, 4 or 5 kids, and that's always been his dream, and you only want one or two, well, you two might not be compatible, and maybe you shouldn't get married. You don't get married to somebody who's got a dream of having 5 kids when your dream is one or two, and think you can change his mind or he thinks he can change yours. See, that's basic incompatibility on a foundational level. You two want two completely different lifestyles. You want a manageable family, he wants a herd. I mean, it's like, what you gonna do? You can't do that. Or you have a man who wants a stay-at-home wife and your career is very important to you. No matter how much you love that man, you should not marry him. You have a man who thinks it's a great thing to have his mother and his daddy and all his siblings and everybody living in the house with you, and you grew up as a single child and you don't want a whole bunch of people all up in your house to clean up after and hear all that noise, and that's going to create a very uncomfortable situation for you. You can't see yourself living like that for the rest of your life. Then you don't marry him. These are all kinds of things that people don't think about. And some women write my advice column talking about, I love him, but I hate his kid. I hate his children. I hate his daughter. I hate his son. I can't stand his baby mama. Okay, then why are you still in that relationship? You just wasting your time there, just spinning your wheels. There's nothing there for you. Get out of that relationship and move on. You already know that you don't like the people that are in the part of his life. You know what I mean? Oh my God. Yeah. And it's like, you have to think about things like that. Even something as simple as a lot of women are very into the higher education, right? But we have a lot of men who are not. And they actually put the women down for for the higher education. We're going to talk about that in another show. And so this is a basic value system, that's something that's highly important to you and maybe everyone in your family, because you guys really, everybody's got like advanced degrees, masters, PhDs, JDs, all the stuff. And then you have somebody who's only got a high school diploma and has no interest in getting anything else. He might be a smart guy, but instead of just shutting his mouth and appreciating the fact that he's in a family with a bunch of learned people and his children are going to benefit from that, instead he starts putting it down. He taunts and teases you and negates everything that you think is important. That's not the man for you to marry. Little things like that, people just overlook all this kind of stuff. And I talk about this all the time. You guys got to be more adept at looking at the man that you're talking about you want to marry. That's why there's so many divorces. It doesn't have anything to do with people getting married too soon. It has to do with them not knowing the person on a real deep level that they're marrying. I mean, there's some things you're gonna always be surprised about late. I mean, you know what I mean? You can never know every single thing about a person. But I'm talking about things that will have major conflict when you're talking about raising a family or living together and each other's extended family. You can't just put that person in a bubble and think, well, I won't pay any attention to all of that. I love this person. We're just going to concentrate on us. That never works. You're not just marrying them, you're marrying everybody in their family, because those people have influence on that man. They in his ear. Unless he's an orphan, in which case you got a whole different he's gonna be dealing with abandonment issues and all kind of other stuff. I mean, you won't have the in-law drama, but you're gonna have some drama still. But you guys have to think deeper and you have to think more, and you have to not be so emotional. I'm going to actually link back up there, I'm going to link that video about controlling your emotions, because I think there's been some women, there's new people in this chat, and they haven't seen or even heard of that video, and I want you to be able to see it. So yes, likes up. Now that we finally got the video up, oh, what a nightmare. It just never fails. Every time I go on YouTube, it's some drama lately. Oh, I just be so exhausted after I do these shows. And it's not from doing the shows, it's from wrestling with the technology and with YouTube. It's just a nightmare. Oh my God. But that's what I want you guys to think. Premarital counseling. mm, If you're an adult, you shouldn't need any of that. These are conversational things that you can find out. And I'm not a big fan of it unless you actually go to a licensed and certified mental health professional, a MFCC type of person. I'm not talking about some old jackleg ass pastor. You go into your pastor to get premarital counseling. Huh? Don't. I could do a better job at premarital counseling than they do. And especially if you're a woman, they always gonna be coming at you from that sexist Bible standpoint, telling you all what you need to be doing and what you need to not do and say and not wear and not be and all this old stuff. That's not it. It's about finding two people's common ground, making sure they have enough of it. Of course, you're not gonna be Bopsy twins, but you should be on a parallel path to whatever lifestyle that you are on. If one likes to smoke weed and party and dip out and do other stuff, and the other one is very family oriented and he believes in cooking, cleaning, and socializing with extended family and friends and stuff like that, well, you guys had two different lifestyles. It's like, why are you even dating? Really? I mean, that must be very uncomfortable when one wants to run the street and you always like trying to find them and have time with them and all this kind of stuff. And they want to rip and run the streets and hang with their boys and, do all this other stuff. And you're hungry for that kind of intimacy. That's a relationship that you abandon. You don't try to push it to marriage and think, well, it'll be better after we get married. If anything, it's going to get worse, because once the men feel like they got you, they really just really slow down, slow they roll. So you guys, I'm not saying don't get married and all this kind of stuff, but well, I'm glad you're talking about it. But I have to say that though, just because of the fact that so many people think that they're going to get premarital counseling from the person who's going to marry them. They go to the person who's in the head of their church. Now, some of those guys have studied, they do have MFCCs, but they're very few. Most of them are just talking off the back, off the side of their neck, and they don't know what the fuck they talking about. So they're gonna be coming at you with some crazy shit that's very unequal in view and puts too much burden on women to tell you to accept shit that you shouldn't have to accept. I was talking to this one lady, and she was talking about how her husband would start kicking her ass, and they went to the pastor, and the pastor told her that that was what men are supposed to do to keep her in line, and what was she doing wrong that made her husband feel like he needed to discipline her in that way. That's what this man said to her. So I just don't have too much faith in religious quote leaders and their thinking when it comes to women and taking care of women with a way that is in their best interest. I just don't have it. A licensed professional who is going to be more neutral and who has like laws to that they have to adhere to, or they get fined or lose their license. That's a better bet because they get too far power out of pocket. Then you can sue them and they can lose their license to practice. So they're gonna be much more likely to toe the line. Um, my niece's husband's a big time writer, but he doesn't advocate education. So their daughter is doing nothing. Oh wow. Well, there you go. There's a perfect example of it. Yeah, I wouldn't waste my time listening to some jackleg ass preacher tell me shit. Don't tell me nothing. Go handle your own shit. Yeah, she was just so, Amelie was just so horrified. And this was a woman that I actually knew, like offline in the real world. And she was going to this big church, big black church in San Francisco. I shall not name the name of it, but this pastor is very big. Well, used to be, and very big. And I was just shocked because I knew a lot of people that went to that church. And that's what he said to her. So it's like making it okay. So then the husband's sitting right there. So basically, he's siding with the husband that it's okay for him to put his hands on his wife if she says or does anything that he doesn't like. I told her to get a divorce. I don't know if she went, I don't know, whatever happened because she stopped working with me after that. She changed jobs and I lost track of her. So, what about a woman in her 30s getting a master's degree outside the US for 2 years? What about it? Do it. I mean, what's the problem? What's the question? You should have been gone already. You should be sending me a postcard. You shouldn't even be asking that question. You should have been like, logging on like our little friend from France there, logging on saying, oh, bonjour, or wherever country you want to go to, and saying hello in that language. That's what you should be doing. So goodbye. Get offline. Get on the plane. We'll see you later. Yeah, they want a 1960s wife. Well, they living like a 2018 man. It's all bitch made. So they want, they want you to drive. They want you to ask them out. They want you to pay. They want you to initiate everything. They want you to propose, and then for you to, cook and clean and pay half the bills at the house and take care of the kids and take care of them and all of that. And women are rushing to do that. And I'm like, why? Are you guys really understanding what you're signing on for? See, that's why I said you guys have to have more conversation with these dudes. And if you really want to be married and you've had this conversation and you feel, several of these conversations and you feel very comfortable that you and the dude are on the same path, you guys are running your train is parallel to each other and that you can make a good go of this and you've been dating, for a year and a half or so, okay, now there should be some conversation about marriage. If you are dating a guy for 2 or 3 years and there's no conversation about marriage, every time you bring it up, he don't know, he's not ready, what's the rush, why are you trying to pressure me, all this kind of stuff. If you want to get married, you need to leave him. You need to leave him. Now, what happens sometimes you leave them and they wake up because they realize, oh, fuck, I really need her more than what I thought. I'm tripping. What am I going to do? I mean, that's my baby. They just kind of snap out of that fog that they're in and then they move forward. Other times they be like, well, bye, bitch, in which case you already know then what time it is. And so you can, move on. And a lot of women who do that, they leave, they break up with that one dude that they wasted years and years with. Then a couple of months later, they meet the guy and another dude, and then the next thing you know, they married and been with him the rest of their life. That happened with a friend of mine out on the East Coast. And she broke up with a dude, like I think it was like November, October, November. And she told me the next man I meet, I'm gonna marry. She went to a party on New Year's, met this dude, and they've been married ever since. And he's the sweetest guy, sweetest guy. So your dream can come true, ladies. It can come true. But what you have to understand is it may not come true with this guy. And you got to handle your life in a way that you focus on your needs and your wants and who's going to give you what you want. Now, these guys, well, one of the dudes in the video was very focused on what he wants, making women jump through all these hoops and do all these tests and prove all this stuff to him. I'm like, well, who the fuck are you that somebody should be need to prove all this stuff to you? It's not about proving anything to you. It's about you two working together to prove to each other that you are what each other needs. And so it's not like you auditioning to be anything to his ass. Don't even ever think like that. And if you got a man who approaches you in that way, well, what you gonna be doing? What you bringing to the table? Say, well, you know what I'm bringing to the table? A fuck you. That's what I'm bringing. And then you get up and leave. Nobody should ever address you like that. No man should ever disrespect the love, devotion, the tenderness, the supportive caretaking, and the worrying, the sex, the cleaning, the cooking, all the stuff that women do for men. They don't even, it's like intangibles. They don't even think about all the emotional work that you put into your man and your marriage and your children and your family. If he's going to be coming at you like, well, what, like you have to have it on a bank book or a credit card or something for him to appreciate it, that's not a man for you to marry because he doesn't understand the value of having a woman love him, nor does he understand the value of having a partner in life. It makes everything easier. Is it always a picnic? No. Is it going to be perfect? No. If you expect it to be, you're going to be disappointed. Sometimes you're going to wake up, you're going to look at your husband, no matter how much you love him, and you're going to want to stab him in the eye. Then you're going to want to drop kick him off a cliff. And then you're going to jump down the cliff and you're going to catch him because you'll be like, oh, wait, I didn't really mean it because I love you, baby. But I mean, sometimes you do wake up and you just look at him and you're like, ugh. You just make me sick. I can't stand your funkin' ass. That's what you think that sometimes. And I'm sure they do the same thing. But it's just a phase. You work through it. In general, 95% of the time, it's roses and peaches and sweet smells and all of that. But that 5%, ooh, honey, that 5%, you just want to kill them. You just want to kill them. hmm It says play one of Dad's videos on a loudspeaker, and if the man freaks out, drop him. They have a lot of guys who are followers of this channel. I mean, not to say they might, they don't agree with every single thing I say, but they agree with most of it, and so especially the ones who have sisters and daughters. They're like, mm-mm. They understand because they have a different perspective on, they've seen things that men who don't aren't around women in a platonic way don't get to see. Let's put it that way. It's not like they're any, less capable of understanding. It's just that these guys have seen actual real life examples, lived, they see it with their own eyes, they hear it with their own ears. So when we start talking about this stuff, they be like, yeah, I saw it. My sister, my brother, my auntie, my little niece, I mean, whatever, they have real life examples of it. My girlfriend insists on bringing knives and lunch meat to the bedroom. What? Lunch meat? That's gross. Well, tell her that you already ate. I mean, what you gonna do? And I hope she don't bring crackers, cause see, crackers in the bed. That's the shit that'll make you fight somebody. I hate that. I can't stand anything on my skin like that. That would just make me just go ballistic. Yeah, 5 to 10 years. That's what he was saying. That somebody would wait. He would want some woman to wait 5 to 10 years before he proposed marriage because he needed to be sure that she was bringing something to the table and that she was going to be a benefit to his life. And I'm like, see, but see, that's what makes me concerned when people say things like that. They don't understand the intangibles that women provide to men, the peace of mind, the comfort. See, he's not placing any value on that. And if you have a man who doesn't understand an emotional investment by his woman, who does every makes his life easier just by him walking in the door. His home smells good. His home is neat. There's food there. It's like it's beautiful to look at. It's serene environment. That brings your stress levels down the second you walk in the door. Just talking to your woman on the phone and hearing her laugh relaxes a lot of men. And when you have the statistics clearly say that single men die faster than married men, because married men get the benefit of this emotional investment that their wives and that their wives give to them, whereas single guys don't have that. They have to try to find it on their own, and since most of them don't really have a close friend, they're dealing with all their stress and anxiety and everything by themselves. Why do you think so many of them are flipping the fuck out and joining these crazy groups online and going into schools wanting to shoot up people and stuff? These men are like crazy. And I saw this other thing, somebody posted on my Facebook wall, which was on my wall in a message, I don't remember, saying how angry and upset and depressed men are getting because women don't want to marry them anymore. And these social researchers were tracking for the last 30 years men's depression levels, suicide levels, anxiety levels, strokes, heart attacks, and high blood pressure, all that kind of stuff in relation to the lack of marriage. And it's a direct correlation. The men who were married, all those numbers dropped immediately, and they were much healthier because their women are feeding them better, making them go to the doctor, making them rest, massaging them, petting them up, hugging on them, all this kind of stuff. And it makes the men more relaxed, so they become more healthy. Whereas the single men are just stressed out, go drinking in bars because they're lonely. They're online starting talking crazy shit because they're lonely. They're angry because they're lonely, and they don't really know how to interact with women in a positive way so they can get a wife. Instead of being nice and asking women, what can I do to improve my situation? Because I want to be married. I want somebody to love me, and I want to love somebody. I want to have children. I want to have a family. I'm working so hard. I want to leave a legacy to somebody. I'm by myself. I don't want to be. Now, that would be honest. That would be what they need to say. But instead, what they say is, oh, we don't need you bitches anyway. You American whores. You this and that and blah, blah, blah. And so they totally alienate the women who would be willing to be in a partnership with them by the way that they talk to women and the way that they act. Don't nobody want to be married to you when you acted like that. Acting like a zip damn fool. Well, yeah, the jobs they think they deserve. Well, I don't know. They getting the jobs. The white boys, especially, getting the jobs. It's black ones that's getting shut out. But it's like they're not trying to be more, get better education and get some tech skills, because that's the way the market's going. Them jobs in factories and all that stuff, some coal mines and all that stuff. That shit is passe. You better get your ass in a book somewhere in a school and learn something about some computers, technology, network, something. Uh-huh. She said she's from the South. The older men in my family said that any man worth his salt will take care of his woman and his children. They say boys shack up, and that's exactly right. The boys want a mommy figure without any work. That's this new generation. They don't want to have any responsibility or any accountability for anything. They really are kind of a trip. So to me, it's like unless they do some grand change, and they're not even worth thinking about being married to, because they just useless. There's no the shit going on. They don't have nothing to offer you emotionally. They're very selfish, narcissistic, just verbally and emotionally abusive. And so, I'm looking at these good dudes, and I'm like, if you want a wife and you want all this stuff, you have to change. And so ranting and railing at women for not wanting you is not the ticket. It's like the analogy I like to use, because my family used to be fishermen. Okay, we go fishing all over the country. We fishing in lakes and rivers and oceans and bays and streams and everything. Okay, we would fish. We had two boats. One went out on the bay over in San Francisco, and then we had like a little putt-putt boat that for the lakes and rivers and stuff. Okay, so the thing about fishing is When you decide to go fishing, okay, you want to catch the fish that are in this pond, this river, in this bay, whatever, okay. What you do is you don't go over there with an attitude saying, "Why won't this fish bite my bait? These damn fish, they don't want anything. They're so selfish. They're just, okay, you railing against the fish. The fish just looking at you. Because the fish are only going to bite when you give them what they want to eat. It's the same with women, you dumb fucks. So you sitting up there ranting and raving and going crazy about what women don't do. You're not giving women the bait that they want. So they mad because they like, well, you just want money. Oh yeah, what woman wants to live in a fucking in a park in a tent? No, she wants a nice house to put her babies in so they're safe and warm and comfortable. Okay, now you don't see how important that might be. Don't you know that shit costs money? So you don't have no money, then you can't buy her a house to put her kids in so your kids can be safe and comfortable and warm. What the fuck does she want with you? How's she gonna have a family with your broke ass? So, it's like this kind of stuff is like they're not thinking. And as you, as a woman, these are the standards that you have. Do not deviate from them. You will be miserable. Do not let some man guilt trip you into being with him, giving him a chance, give a brother a chance, help a brother along, do all this stuff. You don't do that. Either he's got his shit together and he's going to step up and he's going to be the man that you and your children can depend on, or he's just going to be left out there and become another statistic, an old man in a nursing home, mad because he don't have nobody. That's what's going to happen to them. I know they're not going to say, but I'm just giving them a clue what they need to do because some of them honestly have not heard this. No one has told them this. They have only been around these, names that we shall not mention, that 5 letter acronym. We're not saying that, remember? And so their heads are full of this. And a lot of these are young dudes. They're like 18, 19, 20 years old. They don't have a dad that's talking some sense into them. So they're online getting what they consider to be male mentorship from these idiots to telling them that, yeah, yeah, yeah. So then these guys get 22, 23. They haven't had a girlfriend yet. They're still a virgin unless they went to some whorehouse or something. And they're lonely. They're sad and depressed and they don't know what to do. They're following this mantra of these fringe element groups of angry men that are losers, instead of saying, okay, I don't want to be a loser, I want to be a winner. What do I have to do to change myself to get what I want in life? It's the same as if you decide to get a degree. You know what you got to do. You got prerequisites, right? You got to take courses. You have to go to do labs. You got to do all kind of shit to get that degree. So it's the same thing. You want that woman, there's gonna be prerequisites, motherfucker, and that means you're gonna have to have some fucking money and you're gonna have some goddamn sense. No woman's gonna want to talk to you when you act stupid and talk to her like she's got a tail. You're gonna be left behind. And so these guys talking about, well, what's she bringing to the table? It's the same kind of abusive language. They're trying to put you in a position where you have to perform like a fucking circus animal, jumping through hoops and over bars and stuff to try to get his attention. Don't bother about that. Just with some dude who's more advanced mentally and emotionally and who knows what he wants. You sitting there trying to convince somebody who doesn't know what he wants that he should want you. That's essentially what you're doing. And there's no guarantee after you spend even 5 or 10 years with the man that that's going to happen. Too many times the women leave that dude. I mean, the dude leaves them and marries somebody else 3 or 4 months later. And he kept you on the string for, 5 or 10 years. Please. Don't, I wouldn't waste my time. Yeah, it is. It is definitely. And I first learned that because I met this man, like I was training his wife. This is when I was a personal trainer, right? And she brought him into the gym so I could do his health assessment because she finally got him to join the gym, right? She was on a client of mine. And so we were talking, and I'm like, well, how long you guys been married? He's, older couple. And he said, oh, we've been married for 30 years. I said, woo. Because at that time, I wasn't that much older than that. And so then I'm like, damn, that's as old as I am. And so then he tells me, but it's so great. If I had known that it was going to be like this, I would have got married sooner. That's what he told me. And his wife just rolled her eyes. She was standing behind me, just rolled her eyes and popped her lips. And I was like, what? But that's what he said. That's what he said. I don't know. You go, I'm looking through, I'm scrolling through. What are your thoughts on unconditional love? I'm coming to the conclusion that it is a made up concept to get folks to overlook dumb ass behavior. Absolutely. There's no thing such thing as unconditional love. Let me explain. Except maybe for parent and child, but when the child is very young. But even then, I can't say it because there's too many parents who abandon their children and abuse their children. So I can't even say that. I'm going to say this: all love between adult individuals that are not related, who choose to be, to interact with each other, that quote, love has conditions. If your love does not have conditions, you're an idiot, because you should have standards for behavior and acceptance of that person into your life. For instance, somebody that I love comes in and they steal my money, they hurt my daughter, they do something to on my property, they do something to hurt one of my mama, my brothers, or something, other close relative of mine or something. There's no love for you. I'm gonna go after your ass just like you a motherfucker on the street. Okay, there's whatever love I may have had for you is dried up and blew away. So, whereas if this thing about unconditional love is basically the premise is that no matter how I treat you or talk to you, I'm going to still get all the benefits of your love without you stopping, putting the brakes on, slowing down, or anything, and you're just going to accept it and still love me anyway. That's the fantasy behind unconditional love. And I'll be like, oh, the fuck it is. I'm all my shit got, even my friendship has conditions. So you fuck up if you want to, and you can see about how quickly this shit is over, and I forget about you. That there's no such thing. As a matter of fact, it seems like I wrote an article about that on my blog on surviving dating some years ago. But I've written and spoken and done so much at this point. I can't even remember everything. If one day I was gonna hire some student or something to make an index of all my shit, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. Uh, yeah, don't do that. Yeah, there's a video here on breadcrumbing. You can see that too. You hadn't heard it? Well, really, like when I started talking about breadcrumbing, it was like probably 10 or 12 years ago. And the way I meant it was different than the way it's being used now, which I explained in my video. Uh, when I talked about breadcrumbing, it's like you leaving a trail for the little birdie, which is a man, to come to you and to ask you out. You're giving him like positive feedback along the way, which is the little snacky bites of whatever you're leaving for him to snack on. That's how I meant it, but it's come to mean breadcrumbing. You just leading somebody down a trail of to nothingness. It have them believing that it's going somewhere when it's really not. So it's two different meanings, but I explain that in detail in the video. Yeah, they just got you like the Affleck duck. Ah, any other questions? This really just is kind of an interesting. Yeah, well, it might be too much work, but it's really not, Saudia. It's really not, because it's kind of like a flirting thing. And I gave an example of how I did it when I worked at this gym with this guy. Oh, he was so cute. Oof, honey. And I wanted to, have a date with him, but I didn't want to be the one to ask him. So he was talking about different things. I'm like, oh, what did you do this weekend? Just conversation, just chit chat. What you do? Oh, he's like, oh, I went to Mount Tam and I did this and that and I saw this and that, blah blah blah. I said, oh, I love hiking. That sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, that's a hint, motherfucker. Catch it. Okay, so but he didn't get it. He just kind of looked at me, or maybe he did get it, but he didn't know what to do with it. Okay, so we wait, another week or two. I mean, so we repeat this. Everything he's talking about. Oh, I love that. Oh, that sounds so much fun. Blah blah blah. So basically, I'm giving him ideas. If you ask me to do this thing with you on a date, I'm going to say yes. Okay, because I already told you I like doing that thing. So finally, his dumb ass either works up the courage or whatever happened. He finally asked me out, and then that's what we did. And it's not too much work. It was it took me 3 seconds to say that. That's not too much work. If that's too much work, girlfriend, you're gonna be single forever. Cause that was hardly work. That's just like fun conversation. And so finally we went out, and everything was going really well, but I couldn't continue it. Forgot what happened. Something happened in my life, and I couldn't. move forward. I had to take a U-turn and handle some other stuff, but um, it was sad. I was sad. Do I give male men advice? Of course. You just send in your question on the survivingdating.com website. There's a form that says get advice. You fill out your question there. And if you're from Twitch, say that, and then I'm gonna make sure I respond to your question. And I'll shout out to you on Twitch. And yeah, that's how we do it. I do advice questions. I respond to advice questions every Tuesday. And sometimes on Saturday too, when I get too many in one week, it becomes kind of like, oh my God, wait a minute, I better answer some of these. But every Tuesday for sure. So if you get it in today or tomorrow at the latest, then it has a good chance to make it in the Tuesday column. All right. So anybody got any questions about how they should handle themselves when it comes to getting engaged? I think the main thing I want to reiterate is that the main thing that's required, ladies, is that you know what you want. Okay, and then you stick to it. Don't be such a flip flop change, whatever he's talking about. Oh, okay, well, you know, uh, yeah, we'll just do that then. Okay, because then he knows he got you then. That's some weak shit. You don't do that. You say, I want to be married and this is my time frame and I'm not going to be dating for no 4 or 5 years. We're not going to do that. So if that's what you want to do, just tell me now because then I'm going to be out because I'm going to be out in 2 years or less anyway unless I see some forward movement in this relationship. And it's not telling him it has to be forward movement with him. He still has the option to dip out. But you telling him what you want and what your boundaries are, which is we're not gonna do that. If that's what you thinking that you're gonna be doing over here, I got news for you, Junior. I'm gonna be up and out. 90 days for exclusive dating. I think it's like this, by the time you get, your 30s and stuff, that men know. You know what I mean? When you're in your 20s, you're young, teens, you don't really know, you don't have as much life experience yet. You don't know which question to ask, you don't know how to look at the things that you see and hear. When you hit your 30s, especially by the time you hit 40, you've been around the block so many times, it's like, oh my God. So when you get with somebody and they should know really seriously within that 90-day period, if you are the one for them or not. Not to say that they're ready to do anything about it, but they know if you are or not. So if the answer is not, then you just part ways and you go on about your business. And that goes for both of you, not just him. You don't sit there waiting for him to, um, make a decision about what you should be doing with your life. That's on you. So what you want to do is look at that video I did on vetting, and I want you to listen to that very carefully because I go through it step by step how to determine if a man is right for you or not so you don't waste your time. Yeah, the fishing is, I think, is about the best way to do it. Because most men understand sports analogies. I have another one too I do about baseball, but I like the fishing one today, so that's where we used that one. Your mother wanted you to marry your ex. You would have been divorced by now. Yeah, I mean, other people can have, some impact, but the person who's going to be married to him, looking at him every day, is you. So you have to be the one that decides that that person is right for you or not. You can't worry too much about what your parents like and all these other people. I mean, they can have some input. Sometimes they do have good insight into someone who's wrong for you that maybe you didn't see. But when they push you to someone that you're not attracted to or that you have some friction with and stuff like that, they're not privy to that. They're not in the relationship, so they don't really know what's going on between the two of you in your private time. So that becomes an issue. He was a dog. They didn't know that. Usually people talk about this stuff and they can kind of get a clue. They can hear out in the community, yeah, so and so is tipping and dipping. Yep, change your bait. That's it. Change your fishing pole too if you need to, because sometimes you get them little lightweight ones. Then there you can only cast out so far. You want to get the big fish, the prize sturgeons and stuff. You got to get them big long poles with the heavy duty line, and then you draw back and you, and it goes, and then you get a big fish. Now you fish close to the rocks, you're gonna get a small fish. I mean, some people like a small fish. Some people, big fish might be a little bit too much for them. You have to decide that. That's what I'm saying. You have to know yourself. And then you go after the man that fits you. Like, for example, people always, they want this God fearing man. Soon as a man starts talking to me about religion, I'm like, deuces. It was nice knowing you. I'm out. Because I already know his mindset is not anything I want to be bothered with. I'm out. I tried it one time. I dated a guy who was Catholic. And this motherfucker, ooh, he was just so, ooh. I mean, I lost so much respect for him. Cause he, I mean, I don't care what you do, just don't be trying to stuff it down my throat. So he went to church, and then he comes back when he was done. He comes over to my house, and he's like, "Oh, I had something interesting happen to me at church today." I'm like, "What?" Thinking it's gonna be, some good story, cause I knew he was doing that quote fellowship and shit they all were talking about. And so he tells me he was in the kitchen fixing, the food for the fellowship and thing. And some guy, he said it was some guy who looked like a bum, came to the back door of the church kitchen and asked him for some food. Now they got a whole kitchen full of food, right? Okay, how's it gonna hurt you to get this man a plate of food? And he tells me that he told him to get away from there, that that was our food, and he did not give that homeless man no food. And I just looked at him, and I'm telling you, all the like I had for him, all the respect I had for him, all the acknowledgement of the good things I thought about him went up in smoke in that 1 second. So that's what I'm saying. That unconditional love shit, that does not exist, at least not in my world. And I looked at him with different eyes, and I saw such a selfish, evil man. And I said, what's really interesting is that could have been a spiritual test for you. What if that man was Jesus Christ that coming to test you and you just failed the test? And the look on his face was one of horror. And he was like, "Well, why would you say that?" I said, "I don't know, but that's just what I think." So anyway, I got a busy afternoon. Thanks for stopping by. I'll talk to you later. I'll never talk to that motherfucker again. But it's like, that just was too much for me. And the way he said it was so nasty. Like, that's our food. And I'm like, get a man a chicken leg and some mashed potatoes and some green beans and a roll. I mean, how is that going to hurt you? Got a whole kitchen full of shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was so deuces. I was so deuces. Yeah, he like, where my lady? He needed all kind of exes. Don't worry, he got some. But up until that moment, it was pretty cool between us. I like Aries men, and he was one, so that we got along pretty good. But that just totally turned me off. I couldn't hang. I mean, I'm not even a religious person, right? And if I'm in a situation like that where it's a room full of food and somebody comes and they're obviously hungry, I mean, like I said, I'm not even Catholic. It wasn't my church and it's not my, I'll still give him some food. And that's me, but that's because of the person that I am. It has nothing to do with my religious belief system. It has to do with me being the kind of person that's going to share what I have with somebody who's less fortunate than me. Now, you on drugs and you tripping and acting a fool and stuff, well, then now you might get a help one time, but then after that, you on your own because you choosing to be something stupid. But we don't know what the man's situation was, and the man came to a church. Okay, churches, that's what you're supposed to be there for, to uplift people who are down and need some spiritual sustenance as well as some nutritional sustenance. Why would you turn that man away like that so cruelly? So, yeah, I think that was a test too. And I don't know where that came from. Because, like I said, I'm not a religious person. I never talked about Jesus before. But in that moment, that's what thought came to my head. And that's what came out of my mouth. And the look on his face was just, he was stunned. So, I was like, wow. The South is horrible for dating? Really? When I was in Houston, I had a good time. But of course, that was eons ago, and I was young and cute then. I was in college. So that was a long, 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 long time ago. But I don't know. I met some really nice dudes down there. I met one who was playing basketball overseas. This boy loved my ass to half to death. But I just couldn't. Something about him. He was kind of dumb. He was good, he's a good athlete, but he just like, and if I could deal with a basic man, a man that really was into me and would do anything in the world for me, then I would have stuck with him. He was cute too. Very tall, nice body, all of that. But intellectually, it was just like the elevator wasn't going all the way to the top. And I just couldn't make that kind of compromise. You tell them place it $10. You little evil ass. Yeah, I don't know what he is because I'm telling you that's the last time I saw him. When he left, I heard his ass up on out of there because I could feel the yuckiness and the just disgust just crawling on me. I just couldn't get him out of my house fast enough. He was just icky to me at that moment, and I just wanted him out of my life, and so sent him on his way. Yeah, Aries men, I tend to like them. Aries and Leo, that's my best match. And they crazy though. I'm constantly cussing them out. They always trying you with some bullshit, but I don't have time. I don't have any problem with reining them in. But the one time I met this one Aries dude I did not mess with. I'm gonna tell you what happened. Okay, we were talking, right? I was some like networking event or some, some business chamber conference, some kind of thing like that. I used to go to all that stuff all the time, and something happened anyway. And he reached out, he like went to shake my hand, and when he touched my hand, it's like this electricity flew all through my body, all the way down to my toes. I could feel it in my hair, and I was like, oh no, and he was fine. Oh my God. I would have been all kinds of fucked up about this man. I politely backed away and I said, oh, it's very nice meeting you. I'll probably see you again around here sometime. I turned and I walked to the other side of the room. See, you ain't getting me all fucked up. Not happen, but I could just feel it. It would have been like if we had slept together, it would have been like unbelievable. But I was like, nah, we ain't gonna do that. We ain't doing that. Not doing that. Your first love was a Leo? You could have all the Leo men in the world. You could have my share, my neighbor's share, my best friend's share, all of them. I'm like that about Scorpio men. I don't fuck with Scorpio men at all. As soon as they say they're Scorpio, I'm out. Yeah. So anybody got any other questions about this thing? Are you guys straight about how you're gonna handle yourself if you get in a situation where you date somebody and you want to get married? I want to make sure everybody understands this now before I sign off. Everybody understands what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to handle yourself. My apologies for the jacked up start of the show. My God. My God, it was awful. Yes, they are very arrogant. But like I said, nobody is more arrogant and nobody's ego is bigger than mine. My ego is the size of the planet. So it's like we be like, you know, we be going at it. And they be trying to be like, they're trying to like break me down. I was like, motherfucker, let me tell you something. So one of the Aries dude I was messing with, he tried to play that hitting shit. I was standing in the gym, right? I drew back and I had like big buff shoulders. I drew back. That's when I was a personal trainer. I fired on that motherfucker and you could hear that boom sound. He was like, oh, you fucked my shoulder up, he says. I'm like, that's right. I'm going to fuck up your face next time. Keep your hands to yourself. Don't play me like that. My husband was a Taurus, though. He was cool. We got along really well. No long distance relationships. Forget it. Nope. Scorpio men, my experience with them is that they are too possessive and controlling. They're too controlling. I don't like that. I need space. I need air. I need just, think of the king of the jungle and the queen of the jungle. What do? They wander around. Now they have a pride. They always come back, but they wander around, right? They do their little thing and then they come back, right? That's how we are. But they have this thing they don't want you to wander around. They want to wander with you, or they want to check on you and see where you are every step, every 5 minutes, where you doing your wandering. And I'm just like, no, you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna be wearing me out on the phone like that. That's not gonna work for me. He annoys you, yes. Leo men are nuts. Yeah, yeah, I'm just telling you. I don't even fuck with them, and I'm a Leo. I don't do that. As soon as they say Leo or Scorpio, I'm just like girl, like in the cartoons, you know how Road Runner go beep beep, shoom. That's me. They just they just crazy. I can't do it. No, no Capricorns either. I mean, you could love Scorpios. I have a friend who's my best friend's a Leo, and she loves Scorpio men. I just be like, honey, you can take my whole lifetime share. I don't want to even see one, none. Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm doing anything, right? I mean, I'm not gonna violate the trust in our relationship. I'm not gonna be tipping out with some other dude. I just want to do my own thing, and they didn't seem to have that kind of trust that I would come back to the pride, right? I'm just wandering around the jungle. I just want to see shit and do shit and meet people and talk shit to people, and then I come back. But they every time I was dealing with a Scorpio man, they were not. They was just too like they got too worried or something. They just wanted to know where they didn't like that, and then they started acting too possessive and controlling, and I don't like that. So I that those relationships didn't last. Don't be asking me where I was. Don't be asking me who I saw. If I want you to know, I'll tell you. But that grilling me shit, that just didn't work for me. I felt like I was like on trial or something. No, no. Yeah, I know. We have a huge ego. The thing I didn't get about from Leo though is that flashiness. That's not me at all. I'm very down to earth. But the other side of me, that freedom side and that talk shit side and that blow your hair back side, all that's definitely 150% Leo. Really? Well, I've experienced it. I can only speak for myself, Patricia. I can only speak for myself. And every single time I dealt with a Scorpio dude, that was the behavior. Cancers, too. I can't do that. No water signs. Pisces, none of them. They too something. They just give me the ickies. They just too needy or something. I can't do it. All of you who can, all that. Good for you. Okay, so then you're in a situation like that, and you have to do your own thing. You know that about yourself. How difficult for it is it to be married to a man who is doesn't see that as part of what his wife should do? You see what I'm saying? This would be a foundational conflict. No matter how much I might love him, the fact that I need freedom and he doesn't want to give it to me, we would never get married. It would never work. Soon as I started feeling bristly and like a caged lion, the relationship would end because he would get on my nerves and I would cuss him out and then it would be over. So I would rather not have to go there and just say, well, we seem to be like on different wavelengths. We're not parallel. You want to be on top of my track with me. I want you to be parallel to me so I can get some air. And, a lot of guys don't like that. They want to call you 15 times a day and stuff, stay on the phone. The dude I met, he want to stay on the phone and talk on the phone till you go to sleep. And he want to do that every night. I'm like, nigga, I got shit to do. I can't do that. I like to stay up and everything, but I need to concentrate on what I'm doing. I'm making my slides. I'm writing out scripts for my videos. I'm researching stuff. I'm working on my books. I'm creating graphics. I'm doing stuff. We're updating my blogs. We're ready to redesign surviving dating. These are things that require a lot of thought and concentration. I do not have the time to be on the phone jaw jacking with you about nothing for 3 or 4 hours. I can't do that. You get 10 minutes and then I'm gone. You guys get more of my time than anybody else. That's it. Yeah, I don't like that. But some men they get this thing where they be talking about, well, my wife, you my wife. It's like, what does that mean? Like I'm tagged like a dog. Now I have to ask you permission to go places and do shit. So you guys better be finding all of this out before you say I do. I mean, this may sound like a crazy conversation, but these are the kinds of things that women don't inquire about and they don't nail down before they get married. And then after you get married, it's too late. He starts coming out the box with all this stuff, and you sitting there looking like, a deer in headlights because you're like, well, I never knew he was like this. Did you ask him if he was like this? Didn't you notice some behaviors where he was questioning you and wanting to know stuff that made you kind of uncomfortable, but you brushed it off because you just wanted to be married? You better stop doing that. You got to think about stuff. You want to be comfortable in your marriage. You want to feel respected, and you want to feel like you have the space and time to be yourself and do the things that bring you joy and pleasure. If you don't have that kind of supportive environment in your marriage, you're going to be miserable. And those are the women who you try to deal with it for a little while, hoping that the guy will ease up, but they never do. And then ultimately, you end up now you got two or three kids involved in the bullshit, and then you get a divorce. And now the kids are unnecessarily devastated. You unnecessarily devastated when you could have had this conversation and talked about all these expectations that this man had. You could have had a conversation and even wrote it down if you needed to, and figure out if you could give him those things that he wants. Is that in you to do? Yeah, that's it. Vanessa just put the title of one of my videos. Yeah, that is what they want in many instances. He threatened suicide. Psh, you dead. I would send him a postcard that said, kill yourself, right on the front. I'm like, I'm just a bitch. But it's like, you're not going to control me with a threat about killing yourself. Die then. What you want me to do? If that's what you want to do, it's your right. But don't think I'm going to change what I'm trying to do over here in order to placate you. You're not going to control me like that. Can you do a video on the mismatch on values? Oh, that's a good idea. Well, send me a email, Faith, survivingdating at gmail.com. As a matter of fact, everybody can do that. If you have an idea for a topic, that's where you send it to. Yeah, you will learn you have to look. You have to know what to look for though, because a lot of women don't. They see it. The man's telling them it's right in their face, but they don't know what they're looking at, and they don't understand. Maybe they're young or inexperienced. They don't know what these things that they're hearing and seeing mean over the long term of the relationship. That's the part where I'm trying to explain to you about the parallels. You want the space for your train to run on its own track and his train to run beside you. You guys can have different stops. Those are different interests, right? Different friends. You can have, it doesn't have to be the same. Now, if he's running on his track, you only gonna go as far as he lets you go. And same as if you guys are, you run in front and leading him. That's not the ideal relationship. You want a relationship where you both are able and free to be the people that you are meant to be, but you choose to do it together. That is the very best relationship that I can hope for you to have. That's the best one. Then everybody's happy, everybody feels fulfilled and appreciated and loved and respected, supported, encouraged. You're giving that to each other because your trains are running side by side. I hope that makes sense. I try to come up with these weird little parables, but send me a princess, send an email. I don't look at these chats. So, and I don't remember nothing. So, you got to send it to me in an email. Make the subject like topic suggestion or video topic suggestion or something like that. And then I'll, add it to my list. This is good. All right, I'm hoping everybody got what you needed from this. Um, you got to see how some men are thinking. That's very curious behavior for them. I hope that I hope that you guys get it. But if there's any doubt about something you didn't understand, anything that was talked about tonight, be sure to put it down below in the comment section. And either I or some of the other ladies, because we got some that have very, very good, good life experience, good sense. They're like my backup crew. Sometimes I don't see everything. If my cousins come along and approve them, I might not see the comment, but I've noticed later that some of the ladies on the that are here tonight will come by and answer a lot of the questions for me. So it's great. It's like kind of a team thing. And if I have something to augment that, then I will. But a lot of times I just be like, okay, well they already handled it, so let me just move on to something else. You missed everything. Oh, well, you can see it After, but I'll be back Tuesday. Remember, Tuesday is when we do our advice questions. Honey, come with your drink because these people are whack. And the questions are just crazy. They just make you just feel like you just need to drink all the liquor in the world because they are just so crazy. The questions are like insane. You can't make this stuff up. People think, that's unbelievable. I don't know if it's unbelievable or not, but all I know is it comes in a letter and I read it and then I respond to it. And that's how things are done around here. So join me on Tuesday for What the Fuck Tuesday relationship advice. We'll be back Thursday with more topical information and probably Friday or Saturday or something as well. This is the Debsterism channel. My name's Deborah Cooper, advice columnist. Please come back, be a subscriber, come back and share a link as well. Likes up, ladies. I'll see you on Tuesday. Bye bye.